everybody is telling you that the money is in the follow-up. I'm sorry, like the money is actually in the room. You are leaving the money inside of the room. Let me tell you a story real quick. I was at a really powerful and amazing gathering of philanthropists not that long ago, and people were lit, like on fire. Our host was somebody who's extraordinary, one of those human beings that everybody wants to be around. She described the problem with so much clarity. People were nodding ahead, right? And these are people who represent billions of dollars underneath their portfolio funds. These were people who flew in. They stopped whatever they were doing, wherever they were doing it. They left their families, to come to this thing, to this gathering, and to support this mission and this vision that this woman was painting for us. How much of the billions of dollars that were gathered in the room do you think were committed to the cause that this woman was busy working on? Yeah, you're right. $0. Maganda, as we say in South Africa, eggshells, zero. Okay? What was the problem? What happened? The assumption was that people would leave inspired, return to their own lives, busy schedules, so many demands on them. The conviction that they felt in that room is trickling, and then somehow they'd get an email that would remind them, oh yeah, this is how I felt when I was in that room. Let me go ahead and do this thing. Wrong. Okay, if you're doing these things in the talk that you're delivering, in the way that you are pitching, right? If you're doing any of these things, I'm telling you right now, you are making a mistake. I'm telling you right now, you're taking the feels and the vibes and oh my God, I got a standing ovation and these people feel so amazing. And you are leaving potentially billions of dollars towards this vision that is so important. People are willing to fly in from around the world to support you around the vision, but we're not getting it done. We're not getting the vision done because we're not striking when the iron is hot and getting people when the belief is at the highest to actually commit, to actually get the change that we want. Are you following me? All right. Myth number one, you think that you are building this talk in order to generate leads, in order to get a survey of who in the room is interested. Raise your hand so that I can go home and follow up later. No, boo-boo, that is not what we're doing. A great talk is not to generate leads, and the follow-up is not where the money is. I think that that's backwards. A great talk is actually built to make and create decisions. In the room, right there, your job through this talk is to help this person understand that, oh my God, I need to work with her and it has to be her. She knows exactly what she's talking about. She knows exactly what my problem is, and she's proposing something solid for us to be able to work together in solving this. Does that also make room for inspiration and all the feel goods? Yes, that's how you get them to trust you and to believe, and that's how you get them towards that decision point. But if your talk is not driving people towards a decision point and helping them make a decision about you, then you're not going to convert your talk into client. You're not going to get clients from that talk. You're not going to get whatever the thing that you need from the end of that talk. In the case of those philanthropists gathered in the room, you're not going to get that commitment that you need, dollars behind it with multiple zeros, unless you get them to understand in that moment they are making a decision. They're making a decision about you, and that decision has to be made while they're in the room. Myth number two, the money's in the follow-up. I've already told you, this is backwards. The money is in the room, literally staring at you. And sometimes there's billions of dollars at the table and you're not activating it in the moment that matters the most. The money is in the moment when the room collectively feels something different, right? In that moment, that's when people feel conviction, and that's when belief is at the highest. When belief is at the highest, that's when we make our ask towards the commitment. Not later on when they're back in their lives and their toddler is screaming for their attention and their partner is over here being like, oh my God, I just had this big thing happen at work. That's not the moment. The moment is when belief is highest, and the moment is when we are inside of the room. You know you have done this right because when that email lands on Monday morning after the event, somebody who's already already made their decision, to point number one, and number two, whose commitment has been captured in the room when the conviction was highest. When that email lands, that person feels like, oh my God, this is such a gift to hear from you, because I was wondering, how do I work with you? Like when I left that room, all I was thinking about is like, how can I work with this person? How can I work with this person? When they get that follow-up email from you, it feels like a gift, versus you don't make any commitment asks while the conviction is high, and you also fail to help them understand like this is a decision-making opportunity. You don't build the talk as architected towards getting people to make a decision. If you don't do that, on Monday morning, when you think that the money is in the follow-up, when that email hits, they're gonna look at it, and because they left feeling like, oh, that was interesting, that was wonderful, I'm so glad I did that, and yeah, I really kind of believe. When they get that email, the thing that they're actually going to feel is, this is a little bit spammy, or they're going to feel like, oh, interesting, she's doing this, like, and not even make the connection between how they felt in the room, because they're so far away from their feelings at this point, and the thing that you are asking for. And number three, this has to be my personal favorite because it's a little bit spicy. Most people believe that a really fantastic talk is supposed to be memorable, right? We're creating this memorable experience for people so that they can remember you. And, you know, there's all kinds of yummy things that we can say to this, including one of my all-time favorite quotes by Maya Angelou, where she talks about people don't remember what you said, people don't remember what they do, they remember what you did, they remember how you made them feel. And so we take that, and that's a brilliant, by the way, life quote about how to live your life. We put it inside of how we build our talks, and we think that the purpose of this talk is to make people feel something and to have a memorable experience. But how's that working out for your bank account? Because the purpose of a talk is actually not to be memorable. The purpose of a talk for someone like you who's an expert is to transform people. It has to be a transformative experience. You have to lead people from point A to point B. And once you've done that, once they cross the bridge, they understand that this here, well, I need this woman. I need more of this. And the person who helps me cross that bridge is Mahohodi. She understands something about crossing this particular bridge. And I don't want to have crossed that bridge alone. I need my entire team to come along with me. And you're going to be so brilliant because one of the things you're going to do in your talk is help them understand exactly how to work with you, right? You make them go through this thing that's transformative, and then you deliver something to them that's an invitation of like, okay, you can have more of this, and here's exactly how. The whole point of understanding what a powerful talk is about is really understanding this is an architecture issue. It is not because you don't know how to make people feel something. Of course you do. How many times have we been to a talk that's really funny, right? But you can't buy funny. You can't take funny with you to like wherever it is that you're going with your team. How many times have you been at a talk and felt like, oh my God, that just left me so inspired. I'm so powered up. That's fantastic. But I want to ask you as the expert, something that's inspiring, like how are you going to bank inspiring? Honey, you can't. But something that is transformative, when you help them understand that they have been completely moved, and when you show them what that movement is and what that movement means, what it could get for them, now you've done something extremely powerful that will actually book you clients. I am Mahohodi, and if you're interested in how you can do this for your own talk, I would be so excited to work with you to build exactly the kind of signature talk that you give. That's number one, the best talk that you've ever given. Okay, let's just name that and claim that. And number two, when you walk off that stage, you have people lining up to ask you, when can we get started working together? As opposed to, oh my God, that was so impressive. You're so cool. Thank you so much for listening. I will see you here next time.